Alex Stein, get ready for this.
Hey, everybody, tune in to Recent Tartarian.
Recent Tartaria. Recent Tartaria. Recent Tartaria. Recent Tartaria.
Hey, everybody, tune in to Recent Tartarian.
Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians.
And if you thought I wasn't going to do a 5-minute intro after an hour delay because of a leftist debate policy, you have to be wrong. So, ladies and gentlemen, Alex Stein, Primetime 99 in the house. Oh my God, it's so good to see you. Are you all right? Did they hurt you? You seem like you look okay.
I'm okay, Andres. Yeah, we had a debate. It went a little long. You know how those go. I mean, have you done a lot of debates?
I used to in high school, actually. I love debate. Debate's like the greatest thing that's ever existed. I want to do it more on the internet, but the problem is I'm scared to lose friends. You know what I mean? Because I might end up debating them.
Well, I don't have any because I'm an extreme right. So
don't say that. You're my friend. Yeah. You're America's sweetheart.
I'll count it. Thank you, Andres.
Alex Stein voted.
Real quick. Okay, wait. What was I voted? Sorry to cut you off. What were you going to say I was voted?
I was going to say voted sexiest boy by the Turning Point USA, and then America's most beloved female swimmer by America.
Yeah. And I love that. I really appreciate that. I'm actually going to be at SAS, my first Turning Point USA event. They said it's supposed to be like this wild, kind of debauchery event. I'm kind of nervous actually, but no, we got to talk about the first thing I want to do the interview. But did you see Elon Musk backed out of Twitter? What do you think about that, dude?
I think he learned. Did you ever read The Art of the Deal? Right, that was my question to you also, because The Art of the Deal with Trump always, and remember what he did with North Korea, where he's like, no, deal's off, and he walks away, and then they go back and they have a deal. I think there's still a chance of a new deal being The Art of the Deal, right? But who knows? It could also be he just wants to shut it down. What do you think's going on?
No, you have a good point, because that's like the best way. I used to be in the car business, not any longer, thank goodness.
You seem like a car salesman. I would buy a car.
I am. I'm in the wholesale business. Well, really, I buy cars from individuals and then I sell them at the auction. Like I'll buy a lot of times people that don't want to trade in their car because it has damn body damage, or it's the engine's bad, and I'll fix it and I'll sell it. But this is the thing. I have my dealer's license. I did retail cars, and when people leave, then a lot of times they come back. So, I mean, that is very common in a deal, but a lot of times when they leave, they'll still come back and pay the regular price. Does that make sense? So like he could come back and still pay what they want, just depending on what the value is. But I think it comes down to, obviously Twitter has a lot of bots, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and like, it's obviously not the real engagement, because you look at guys like Brian Stelter, he gets like 20 likes on his tweet. Suppose he has like 1 million followers or something. It just doesn't match up. And then Joe Biden, I forget how many millions he has, but they found out all of his accounts were fake. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, so that's an interesting point, that most of the internet is a bunch of bots, but are humans much better than bots? What's the real reason that humans are more valuable?
Yes, humans are better than bots, because this. See, I spoke at a New York City Council meeting recently, and I talked about like the metaverse. And this is the problem. It's like even the main companies like AT&T and IBM, they try to create technology where they can confuse the person and make them think that they're actually talking to a human, like a customer service avatar, basically, right? And whenever they do that, humans can always tell they're talking to a robot. Literally, when they get tested, maybe one person falls for it, but it's like a 99% rate where humans can tell. Because my problem is there's an uncanny valley. Like people think artificial intelligence is like the ability to recreate you and me. They'll never be able to recreate you and me, but they'll be able to recreate a machine that can use information to predict things that might be accurate, but they can never make you and me sound like you and me. It'll never be that natural, in my opinion.
So that's a thought I also was thinking about. So AI is supposed to be software, right? And robots are hardware. We've got like puppets. I'm going to 3D print like a robot, but it's just a puppet for the AI. But then again, aren't I just a meat puppet? So could you erase the data, like, or have a child that doesn't have any mind yet and put AI in a human? And what would that be like?
Well, see, that's kind of different. I mean, the idea that you can link up a human with a computer, yeah, I think that's totally different than creating a human, creating it from scratch. I think that probably is the future. It's like I'm wearing a watch, and I think Elon Musk talks about it too. It's like your computing time with your thumb is point whatever seconds, and as human beings, our technology will only get more integrated in our body. So I think you're right. Like we will be cyberkinetic. We'll be like Terminators, half human, half robot.
Man, I mean, so at that point, though, if AI can use our bodies to calculate feelings, and AI has feelings, will that mean AI is like, will it transcend into something more legit? Or, I mean, does it get to have the spirit of God,
Well, this is what they say. I forget who said it, but it was a really smart person, that humans are the sex organs of machines. So they couldn't procreate without us, because we create them. So they kind of need us. And if they were smart, yeah, they would be like a parasite and they would infect us. And that's how they would, become, that's how they would create more and more robots if they took us over.
My God. All right. So what about CERN? CERN's been going on, and there's like 6,000
Well,
crazy things.
I know, and then you see, Shinzo Abe just died, and you can just tell, like, Dude, but I think you're similar to this. Like, I'm all about vibrational energy, like being high vibrational or low vibrational. And right now, society's in like the lowest vibrational state that I think it's been in a long time. Not just the inflation, not just like the fact that, gas is so expensive, but I think people are like almost starting to feel hopeless about the future. And I think that is causing people to feel really, really overwhelmingly negative.
Oh my God. I mean, I've seen it in so many places, especially like looking at, Shinzo Abe's assassination. It's caused everyone to freak out around the world because he's like Franz Ferdinand. It's we remember World War I and we think, hey, this could be and he did the most to try to stop the Taiwan Strait invasion, which is now, of course, today they've gone across and China's invading Taiwan, basically. So, I mean, I don't know. Do you think it's all just when you say vibrations, like how much does a Schumann resonance do you think impact all this? Or are we doing it, or is the resonance doing it to us?
Well, yeah, I mean, they have to keep us in like a low vibrational state. And I think it's pretty obvious when you look at Joe Biden, he constantly uses like rhetoric that we're in a war, basically just like, dog whistling that we're going to have to get into World War III and something Russia's going to drop some bomb that's too big or, they're going to consider it too big. And then we're going to be obligated because of our alliance with NATO that we're going to have to fight a war. We're going to have to send troops there. I think that's inevitable. And getting in another war with people in Europe or whatever you want to call Russia, Eastern Europe. I don't even know what the proper terminology. You'd know better than me. I'm just saying that is very low vibrational. I mean, Eurasia. Yeah. I mean, it's just, dude, we're going to get in another war for nothing for bankers about imaginary lines in the sand. And I'm not saying Ukraine should forfeit, but if Russia just wants some land in between the border, give Russia the land. It's like, why don't they just do it and save some lives? And we can still give you your $40 billion. I mean, we're just giving them so much money because what they're going to do is we're going to give them so much money where it'll be a waste of money if we don't, get involved in the war because we've already given them so much.
Right. But at the same time, you look at, a little bit further along, like Taiwan. So do we do the same? Do we give, because the next one is going to be Taiwan. Are we going to give Taiwan to communist China, like PRC?
No. And we're going to have to get in and defend Taiwan probably, don't you think? But see, the thing is we're so dependent on China when it comes to like computer chips and so much technology that we don't even know about, whether it's like parts for a washing machine. So it's like, dude, when they talk about, the shortages or like, the food supply, shortages, we have to almost capitulate to China, even though their economy is dying right now, because we need them. So it's like we can't survive without them.
Dude. So you studied you've Conspiracy Castle, you study a lot of conspiracies in general, and you've heard a lot of people that have done testimonies about the way they think the world is run. Who runs the world? You're now looking at them closer and shaking hands with people. What do you think is actually happening?
Well, people like to always say it's like the Jewish Illuminati, which I don't think necessarily true because you look at the Catholic Church, you look at like there's a lot of influences. But for me, I think the broad definition would be the multinational corporations that rule the world because these corporations are everywhere. Like Apple is a global company. I mean, you look at, whether it's Halliburton, whether it's any of these, even the financial companies, these are worldwide companies and they can buy and sell these politicians. And America is the biggest domino. If they can make America fall down, everything else will. And this is why I don't think we have a lot of hope because we live in a society now, Andreas, where they can say there's a new thing called sudden adult death syndrome, and nobody says a word. And so that's a corporation making it where you and I can't talk about it. We can't say what's actually causing that, or we'll get deplatformed. So we're literally fighting.
We can tell people, by the way, though, this is important to say, that sudden adult death syndrome now is a thing that's being studied and exists. And, data is so you should know that it exists. Sudden death.
Yeah, but we can't talk about the elephant in the room.
No,
we can't talk
do
about
that.
Yeah,
But the thing is, the elephant is so big. The elephant's so big and so loud, and it's crapping everywhere, and it's kicking people. So it's kind of like even if you don't say it, you still know it's there.
Well, we have to be kind of careful with what we say because we're on YouTube. But like, dude, I've gotten such a dark place last night. I was reading about how about 60 National Guard and Reserve Army, lost their job and all their benefits because they didn't get, inoculated. And dude, and so I went on Reddit, which is like the most, lefty thing ever. And dude, the people cheerleading it were like, good, I'm so happy. They're not protecting and serving. Dude, we're like, and y'all can't even realize that it doesn't even stop. It doesn't even do the job that it's supposed to do, And so these people are just, no amount of evidence can convince an idiot. And I think that's where we're at, where you can give them all the evidence that the elephant can literally crap on them. But if the government says, oh, that's just, that's chocolate cake. So, people be like, oh, I love this cake.
God. I mean, I know we already talked about Shinzo Abe, but I just was thinking since, you know, when I noticed when it happened 2 a.m., I was 3D printing and I was listening to the BBC and they were still talking for like 6 more hours about borscht, and they don't care about anything but the Prime Minister of Britain. And finally, I was like, man, they're not going to be able to talk about the news until tomorrow. Here's the news tomorrow. And by the way, if you use BBC, you should always use the Pigeon version, because they actually do the whole articles in Pigeon. So Shinzo Abe assassination, how Dem kill Japanese ex-prime minister. Shibe Abe de talk to voters outside Yamato Saijaji station moments before Dem shoot at him. Image caption, Abe de took to voters outside Yamato station. Yeah, you get the point. Basically,
that's hilarious in Pigeon like that.
So, but what does this mean? Like, I mean, our news, we wait so long for the news. We wait a day until the data's gone, and then all we have left is this, you know, narrative. So, I mean, and then what are we doing? We're like on Twitter. We're the ones who are actually like in the news, you know, now. What's real, and what do we do about like narrative control?
Well, you got a good point, because, like, you know, I'm in the conspiracy world, and now I'm like kind of getting more in like the political sphere. So, dude, it's because since I started off in the conspiracy world, but dude, it's so toxic because you're never conspiratorial enough. You're never blaming, you know, Israel enough. You're never blaming this country. You know what I mean? Seriously, that's where it gets. Like, if you don't hate these people, they're like, oh, well, you're a shill. And I'll be honest, like some stuff I've kind of have to become a shill about, stuff that I do believe that I don't really talk about publicly because I'm getting a bigger audience, and I'll get like totally wrecked for, you know, saying some of the opinions that I do think are true. So in a way, you kind of almost do have to shill if you want to get some sort of mainstream success. That's where we're at. So it's like, well, you know, you can either just stay in the dark corner of the internet, but you know, sometimes you kind of I want to wake people up, right? I want to make them question the reality in which we live in. I don't want them necessarily to agree with me. So not me pushing all of the thoughts that I believe to be true is not really my goal. You know, it'd be like, oh, this is what's causing this. I just kind of want people to ask the question and do the research on their own. So I guess my point being is like, we're in this conspiratorial type world where, you know, it's just a lot of infighting. And I think that's kind of like what's happening in this future. Like the left is eating its own for not being woke enough. And then the right is, you know, does a lot of cringy stuff too. It's just hard to find a happy balance in this day and age.
Right. I mean, I was talking to David Brin, the guy who wrote that book, The Postman. I mean, that movie, Kevin Costner's The Postman. And it's got, he says basically, you know, like it used to be that the left thought that the bad guys were like the fat cats and the, you know, the people with too much money who were the nobility and whatever. And then the right thought it was the intellectuals and the corporatists and stuff. They used to have each other's backs. It used to be basically you're watching for the other side to make sure that it's basically like we both are back to back with guns shooting zombies in every direction. And that's the way the left and the right are supposed to work. And instead, we've turned towards each other instead of away, which is horrible. What about UFOs? UFOs. You see this one? Whistleblower protection. So,
well, you know, it's funny. Well, we talk about this because, you know, my biological father, Tucker Carlson, loves UFOs, right? And so, you know, the idea that there are some sort of alien being, like, I probably do think, you know, like, you know, the deepest we can dig is a great borehole, 8 miles deep, and the deepest is like the Marianas Trench, and that's not that deep, 8 miles. So, like, could there be some sort of, like, there's a bunch of, what I'm trying to say is they tell us that we know more about space than the ocean, which I think is provably false. I think we know more about the ocean than space, but they won't tell you that. So I'm just saying, yeah, the fact is that could there be some sort of life form that we don't know about on Earth? Yeah, I think that's a high possibility.
Man, I mean, so this whole thing they're saying, because, you know, they had this whole, they're going to start disclosing UFO spotting information, but they're trying to propose whistleblower protection so that people can speak out about it who are afraid because of whatever they've contracted or signed that said they weren't allowed to speak about this before.
Andres, but this is the problem is, dude, they've always been saying this, Ronald Reagan, they've always said that they need an existential threat in order to encourage, you know, the new world order or true globalism. And that's how they'll link us up with China. That's how they link us up with the people we hate, because they say, oh my gosh, we got to fight these aliens. And you know what? You know, in a way you could say COVID is an alien, you know, it's an invisible alien. I'm just saying there's so many different ways with Project Bluebeam where they could trick human beings and they would believe it in 2 seconds. Like, oh, we got to team up with Canada. We got to team up with Mexico. And I'm not even anti-team up. That's the thing is, like, I'm anti-globalism. I'm America first. But I do also think that we should have allies and we should support each other. You know, I think I'm based in reality. I think we can have both. We can put our country first and still help one another without, you know, subjugating our own people. So I'm just saying, I think the aliens will be used in some sort of mischievous way in order to get us into a system that doesn't benefit humans.
Man, I mean, it seems like that's what's going on. You saw who was on John Podesta was on the Ancient Aliens show recently. That's his new thing. Is all aliens all
He was on the Ancient Alien? Did you see Bill Clinton was talking about it too on James Corden's show was talking about aliens.
I
Did you
mean,
see that recently?
what
But
is the
John
connection?
Podesta was on Ancient Aliens like recently.
Do aliens like pizza that much? Like, what is the deal? Like, I don't know.
Wait,
Makes
I'm
me wonder.
looking this up right now.
Yeah.
Why is John Podesta even doing freaking
Oh,
the press? Like he
my
needs
God.
to go into hiding.
John Podesta, ancient aliens. Let me pull
Clinton
up.
lost because of aliens. Wow, he does a bunch of alien stuff.
He's got
Good
a whole
for
bunch
him.
of stuff. Yeah, World on Alert, IMDb about aliens, all his IMDb. David Wilcock elected not to appear in Ancient Aliens after featuring John Podesta. Blah 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 blah. And
Yeah.
but his whole thing. Bill Clinton says he sent agents to Area 51 to look for aliens 21 days ago, all connected to Podesta. So Podesta's been ever. So they had the Ancient Aliens during right after Trump was after January. For like the 7th, you know what I'm saying? Like they started changing things and they decided basically they were going to have, okay, Trump released all this. He's like, oh, I'll sign the paperwork for the insurance for the COVID or whatever, but I need you guys to release UFO data and JFK data and all that other stuff that he wanted released. And so Podesta had a whole episode about what was released during that time. And it's crazy. Like that's his whole...
Yeah, no, that's all crazy. And I mean, obviously, I'm just kind of saying this crazy, but I think it's almost a higher possibility that we're the aliens. That's what separates us from the animals because we're so similar, but then we do have something that's indistinguishable from them. And maybe it has to do with like the Nephilim in the Bible. Maybe there were giants, maybe there were angels. And I actually kind of think that. I think that I do believe in heaven and hell, and I do believe in a creator. So I think that there's a possibility that, something came from somewhere else, like whether you want to call that an alien, a spirit, an angel, and then probably did something with humans. And that's where you and I are because and this is just me, guessing. I would never say, oh, this is true. But I think if they say we only use like 10% of our brain, imagine the people you look at the freaking the technology, and obviously you're a Tartaria person. Like humans used to be smarter than they are now. Like some of the heating systems they're able to use, they even have like computers. Egyptian computers are able to tell like the celestial places of the planets. Like a human couldn't recreate that today. So we're getting dumber. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
you don't know your girlfriend's phone number.
devolving.
You know what I mean? Like it's all gone.
I can't remember my number half the time, seriously. And it's like we're really getting dumber. And this is like another reason I always talk about this on my show. So like A&W Hamburgers, when they got in the hamburger business, they did a nationwide market research survey asking people what they thought was a better value. The A&W is trying to compete with McDonald's famous quarter pounder burger, which is 1/4. And they were selling a third pounder burger, which is 1/3 for like a little bit less. And overwhelmingly people picked the quarter pounder thinking it was more because they saw the 4 instead of the 3. So my point is like humans can't even do a simple fraction this day and age, like much less, sacred geometry. So I do think like our ancestors were probably a lot smarter or had more access to their brain than we have today.
I believe it. In terms of what do you believe? You've probably had people on your show even talking about aliens. What do you believe about? Do you have any thoughts about specific aliens or specific? Have you have any ideas about any cultures that might exist?
I kind of like that theory that the Greys did something genetically wrong and they have to come back to get their DNA or something like that. I mean, now I kind of like that.
Coming up, that came up like the last few days. A couple of times we did a Wednesday Ultra. We were talking about the Dracos and the Greys being bodies created by light beings, like they're creating different bodies they can use. Do you think that there's like a singular, like, is that body their body, or are they able to just create 3D print bodies? And they can jump in.
Well, I don't know, but I mean, they say in the future, it's like, dude, you look at the transhumanist movement and you look at the transgender agenda too. It's like they want us to be all one race and all one sex. So maybe their plan works, and like in the future, we're all one race and all one sex. And they're like, oh shit, we shouldn't have done this, and maybe they want to go back and try to fix it.
Yeah, right. I mean, so there's been a lot of changes that have been happening, and people have talked about like indigo children. Don't say autism, say indigo children. Like maybe there are these benefits.
Wait, what?
About that, right?
No. Because did you see the rate of autism is 1 in 30 now? They said they just came out with a study. So 1 in 30. That means 1 in every kid in my class. All my classes are like 27 to 30 people in high school. It's a 1 in every class is autistic, and that's like, oh, that's very scary. Is there anything you think that like, are we looking at it as a disorder because it doesn't work in like factories, but it's some kind of adaptation? Do you think there's something there, like it's of X-Men of evolution? You think it's good to be autistic? I mean, maybe sometimes, maybe I'm slightly autistic. Like I guess an autistic can probably figure out how to do some things better, but I don't know, man. I walk by the park, Bachman Lake, and that's actually where I kind of started doing my culture jamming and speaking at city council meetings, because they shut down the they're open air bathrooms, and then they put porta potties, and they also like turned off the water fountain so you can press a button for your dog that had dog bowls. And I remember like complaining back, why are you doing this? How is this stopping a virus? But they were just doing it because they didn't want you to use it. And then I started going kind of insane and started culture jamming, and that's how I started to go viral. Because once the crazier I got, the more attention I'd get from them. But my point being is, there's like a school for like special adults that's like next, and I see them walking all the time, and it just makes my heart go out to them to think like a lot of them are like 60, 70-year-old autistic people, and I'm like, wow. I mean, they've lost their parents, they probably lost all their brothers and sisters. Like maybe, I guess my point being, that's terrible. Maybe they're so autistic they don't even know how bad things are. So I don't know. I mean, maybe I guess it's a benefit because they're retarded. They don't know how bad things are, but they don't have anybody to take care of them. I mean, we live in a very, if you really look at the harsh reality of the world, it's not, candy canes and lollipops.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I wonder, do you think there's a solution, or are we going to be able to reverse this? Or are we going to be able to?
No, not unless we get off Big Pharma's teat. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious. They're going to say correlation doesn't mean causation, but that's a lie.
Oh my God. Well, okay. You just talked a little bit, about yourself. I realize that's probably more interesting than Taiwan to some people. So, I mean, I've known you for a minute. Why don't you tell us, how did you start doing Conspiracy Castle? And then how did that lead into the City Hall meetings?
Well, it's kind of funny. So like now that I've gone viral a bunch, I started to tell this story a lot. But so what happened was I graduated from LSU in 2010. Then I moved to Los Angeles and I didn't have a job. So I went to Central Casting and I looked young. So I got a lot of like 18 to look younger roles. And then through that, I did that for like 2 years, get some production assistant jobs. And I got on this reality show. It's called The Glass House, which is like Big Brother, where people vote you off. And I was the producers.
Crazy. What? You were on Glass House? What the heck?
Yeah, and the producers kind of convinced me to be the villain, like the audience that I asked to, and I wasn't myself, and I got kicked off second because of that. And it kind of like, it made me like a little jaded with Hollywood and like producers and TV, because they're like, oh, you're going to be a star and this is going to be such a big deal. And then it all ended up being like the opposite of it. It was actually kind of a nightmare. And then so I moved to Dallas and I worked for the TV show Cheaters, which I signed an NDA. So I can say it's the most real show ever. We catch people cheating on their husbands and wives, and everything about it is 1000% real. And so I worked for that show, and the host of it was a guy named Clark Gable, who was my age, who was like 6 months younger than me, was my friend, and he partied hard, Andreas. Like when I talk about like knowing people that have a drug tolerance, he had the highest drug tolerance I've ever seen. He had like a bunch of doctors that would prescribe him medicine from California, a bunch of like pill mill type doctors, and like I would just see him like do whippets, like stuff that I would be scared of. And I'm not like some pussy, for lack of a better word. I always thought I was extreme. I was like chugging, taking shots. I could drink a lot. I couldn't keep up with Clark. Like he really could like drink me and smoke me and make me really under the table. And then, dude, after the 17th season, I get a call from his wife. It's like Clark died in his sleep, and he ran out of like pain pills and went and bought like oxycodone or Vicodin or whatever pain pill that was stamped from some cartel guy, and it had fentanyl in it, and he died.
Wow.
And so I was supposed to, and then after that, the guy that owned the production company, Bobby Goldstein Productions, was like, Alex, you're going to be the next host of Cheaters. And I changed my life. I stopped drinking. I got all excited to be the host. And then April 2020, like right when the pandemic's like kicking off, they hired this 52-year-old black dude named Peter Guns. And that's when I started. And I was so mad. I quit the show. And that's when I started my podcast. May 20th was my first episode of the Conspiracy Castle. And that's when I started creating content. And then, from then on, I started doing the podcast and I started going to the meetings. And next thing you know, 2 years later, I'm about to sign a deal with the Blaze TV and get my own show. And, a lot of opportunities are coming my way. It's insane. I would have never thought it'd happen like that.
Dude, that's so brutal. And Glass House. Oh my God. I lived in Santa Monica and Venice Beach 2010. So like we must have been like ships in the night.
You were there. Oh yeah. We were right next to each other. That's when I moved there in 2010. I lived on Yucca and Hollywood Boulevard in a crappy studio for my first year. And then I lived on Spalding in West Hollywood with like 3 guys in a 3-bedroom in a tiny little crappy apartment too.
It's adorable. I was in Venice Beach, which is like Santa Monica's. I was as close as
so nice.
Yeah. But Venice Beach side, so it's still like by the liquor locker and like the worst, the cheapest and most squatter-ish kind of place you could be, which is great.
Well, dude, so I've been traveling a lot lately because for 2 years I was such a bitch. I was like, I'm not gonna wear my mask. Like I'm not gonna travel. Now I like wear 10 masks when I get on the plane to be funny. Like I should have just been doing that the whole time. But my point being is, I went to California and I've been to New York twice, recently. And dude, Venice was a hellhole, dude. And like I'm, like not even judgmental. It's just
Hollywood's
Oh, and
on.
Hollywood. No, Hollywood is too. I'm just saying,
Hollywood's
dude,
like
Skid
you have
Row.
to kill like the strongest beast you can find and wear their hide on your feet to try to get across there as quickly as possible. That's what it always
No,
felt.
it was like that. And like Skid Row, like I was all over New York, and I'm sure there's like, bad parts of New York, but dude, I was like more sketched out walking around late at night in LA than I was in New York. And I was just
Dude,
surprised by that. I would have never
We
thought
got a
that.
Venice Beach Dub Club says, I heard my name. Nice super chat. Love you very much. I hope, have you guys ever done a thing? I hope you guys get connected. VBDC's got a good show. You should get on at some point.
I feel like I followed them or they followed me or something, but yeah, we need to connect.
Legit. Well, okay. So then, life started getting weird for you. You got into you already were in the TV world, which I argue is kind of weird, but that's our Aboriginal life.
It is weird.
It
is weird, but I'm a creative person. Like I've always like been drawn to like, creating something. And that's why like, man, I was creating a show for cheaters and like, doing all this stuff, making decent money. And like, I thought that was fun, but dude, nothing is more fun than what I'm doing, creating my own content on my own, having the freedom. And the fact that it's like, people are watching it now, it's just like, it kind of blows my mind. The only thing that will stop me, Andreas, is if I get deplatformed. As long as I don't get deplatformed, there's no doubt in my mind that I will grow bigger and I will be able to entertain people because we live in a society of political correctness. So there's a huge void for me who's not politically correct. And I think it almost makes it easier to be successful in this, politically correct atmosphere.
Yeah, oversaturated, undersaturated. But you just said the real scare. I mean, like, so we live in this like communist, Soviet, Iron Curtain, Silicon Curtain kind of world. Do you think how in danger? I mean, we've made several choices in this episode tonight to be careful of what we said. How in danger are we of being deplatformed, or is anybody being deplatformed?
I think huge. I mean, you Trump should have never let Alex Jones go, and then he got deplatformed. He should have fought for that. They should have created some sort of protection for themselves on the internet. So I think it's a high possibility that once you get, you don't even have to have a huge following, but if you're effective in your message, getting it out there, and you're an actual threat. I mean, look at all the doctors that get kicked off Twitter constantly. I mean, Peter McCullough is like, shadow banned hardcore. You can't even tag him. Robert Malone. After Zelensky just died, they deleted his account. Like, you can't even be a medical licensed doctor and have an opinion on the internet.
God. Yeah. I mean, but also in terms of people dying all around us, do you think we're safe, or do you think it's literally just a deplatforming thing? They don't even need to worry about us, or, I mean,
Do you think we're safe on the internet? No.
Are we safe in real life, at this point?
I don't know. And, that's why like this abortion thing kind of blows my mind to see, like, I think it was Elizabeth Warren. She had a viral tweet today getting mad at the abortion help clinics. The clinics that like, if you go in there pregnant, they give you an ultrasound and they tell you not to get aborted. And she was talking about how in her state, those are 3-1. And she's like, those places are evil. It's like, how are they evil? They're trying to like help, women. And if the woman doesn't have financial means, they'll like get you in a setup where they can help you financially. And I guess my point being is like, they don't care if people die. They actually want people to die in this weird way. And so that's why, you and I can be taken out in 2 seconds and the machine keeps going. Like nothing changes. When Kobe Bryant dies, the biggest basketball player in the world, nothing changes. Right. You know what I mean? Everybody still goes to McDonald's. Everybody still whatever watches Dancing with the Stars or whatever crap is, camp or, popular at the time. Nothing really changes. So death to these people, they love it. I think they actually like it.
Man, I mean, I worry so much about the future. The technology, you were saying earlier, deal might not be going through with Elon Musk. Is there, we've been on Odyssey, we're on a couple other platforms. What solutions exist to avoid being deplatformed? I mean, what do we do?
Yeah, I think the internet's big enough where you can always go to. So I think, what is it? Breitbart said it. Andrew Breitbart is that there's going to be internet ghettos, and that's what it is. I know, seriously. And Odyssey's an internet ghetto. Like, yeah, people can find you if they want to search for you, but most people want the ease. They want the YouTube chat. They want the biggest and the baddest. So it's different. You don't get to play on the same level field. Like, yeah, you can obviously create edgy content, and there's a place where you can probably platform and host it. Like, that's all possible. But once again, that's an internet ghetto. That's not the internet, suburbs or the internet, whatever, the internet heaven, whatever you want to call it, the internet earth. I don't know. It's just, it's an internet ghetto. And that's what they're going to do. They push us into the darkest corners of the internet where people can't really see it.
They give Elon Musk so much credit. And, I think some people wonder, like, is he doing this because he's this altruistic superhero who loves America, like, for freedom?
No, dude, he's an idiot. Elon Musk is not a good guy. I mean, we try to act like he is. And I think he's better than a lot of people. I'm not saying he's the worst guy ever, but like, He loves transhumanism. He wants to be able to put a microchip up your butthole that you can park your Tesla by thinking it with your brain. Like, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about, the connection of the human and the cyborg and the computer. And he wants to link us up as soon as possible. So for me, that's transhumanism. And I think that, like, I'm not even some really religious guy. I do believe in a creator, obviously. I think organized religion is actually kind of bad in a sense. I know that's weird, but because it's used as a weapon. But I guess my point being is, like, I'm really anti-transhumanism. I think that's like I said earlier, I referenced this speech twice talking about in New York how because of climate change, people probably will live in pods with a headset and intubated, and they'll be able to live in a vanilla sky where, like, you and I might be poor here, but in the fake world, they can have as much money as they want. They can be married. They can have all their dead loved ones that they, never saw. They can have a 10-inch dick. They can have all the stuff that they want. And people will go and do it, Andreas, because their life is so bad here. So it's like, that's why you talk about the future being bleak. I think they are purposely trying to make things bad here so that they'll go plug into a computer. And the problem is, once you plug into the computer and you get intubated into the machine, or you're dead. You know what I mean? You think you're alive, but you're dead.
Man, and that came out about his 2 twins born just before his kid recently. Like, he had some other kids that were completely. There's a whole spectrum
with an executive, like with it. Well, I'm just saying, like, with somebody that works there, and then it came out that he, like, showed his dick to that girl on the plane. And at first, I wanted to, like, kind of go against the media and not believe it, but now I think he is kind of a perv. He's probably banging every chick. He probably is horny. And God bless his soul. I get it. Like, you're the world's richest man. You want to get laid. At least he's not with children. And that can't be the same said for Bill Clinton and a lot of the people on the Lolita Express. So, Dude, it is what it is.
Glenn Maxwell arrested for trafficking children to nobody. What's going to happen with that? Is it just? There's two schools of thought. So I get interviewed by National Enquirer a lot. They just like me. They use me as a contributor for that. It's really cool that they use me all the time, but they were telling me, and I was, they gave me a quote recently on an article. I don't know if this is true, but they said they're giving me inside information, and you can't ever 100% trust Inquirer, even though I like them. But it is what it is. But they're saying that Ghislaine Maxwell is going to turn on a bunch of big people. That she's probably going to get. This is what she's saying. She's going to try, and they said Jeffrey Epstein probably tried the same thing before he died, to probably tell on people on that list to get some sort of leniency from their sentencing, or better treatment or some whatever it is. But they're never going to let her tell on the people, because then they'd have to say, oh, well, Bill Clinton, or even Donald Trump, maybe, or even, who knows, Chris Tucker, I think, was on there. I mean, there's just a lot of big, powerful people that they don't want to drop the dime on. And I think that's why I think it's pretty obvious Jeffrey Epstein definitely 1000% killed himself. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, people even with half a brain realize what really happened there, God, I mean, so the Epstein thing's crazy also with cloning, right? Because Epstein was all about cloning, and he's got girls that were saying, yeah, he had like cloning.
The New Mexico ranch.
Dude, and the Caribbean thing with the French islands, because he was involved with Clonaid. And so they're supposed to be like, what do you think? How far along is that? The French government said they had super soldiers and talked about in vitro therapy. That sounds a lot like cloning. China has that too. Are we living in a world with clones?
I don't know, maybe because they can clone your pet, supposedly, like, you can have like a pet, and then, but I'm saying you could, let's say you have like a German Shepherd you love, they'll have the German Shepherd, they'll clone the DNA, but they can put it like in any other dog can carry it, which I'm like, what? You're telling me that, like, they can put a designer dog, they can clone your dog, they can do it with cats too, but, like, I guess dog's a better example, so they can, like, have your German Shepherd born out of a pit bull without having any of the traits of a pit bull. So, like, that is cloning. That just blows my mind. So maybe they can do that with humans. It wouldn't surprise me. But, like, the fact that they say, like, Dave Chappelle is a clone or Eminem's a clone, I don't know, because how do you get a clone that's born at 38? You know what I mean? How do you get a clone that's, the baby doesn't come out that old. That
probably has to do with telomere extensions and hormones or whatever. Let me find. There's also, the 3-parent baby thing. So there's like, so let's see, you get, there are babies conceived starting in Mexico where there are 3 parents, their DNA is mixed. You can have 2 mothers that are lesbian or 2 gay men, and they can have the genes of, a little bit of
both.
Of the carrier of the female that they bring into the relationship.
Well, this is like an Arrested Development sketch where it's like the 2 cops that were gay, and then they're like, oh yeah, we don't know, we just mixed our DNA up, we don't know who the dad is, and then the baby was black, and like one guy was black, one guy was white, the cops. So like you could tell whose baby it was, is my point being. Is obvious in that instance, but the fact that, like, it can borrow from both the people's DNA, I mean, that sounds impossible, but I guess
I
if you
mean,
read it in
DNA
the
is
news, it has to be true.
right. That's a good point. But no, I mean, they really are doing these things. They're doing genetic combinations. And you were just mentioning in vitro, where they put the egg of the clone pet into another dog mother, so that the womb of the actual dog can carry your clone. I mean, they're in vitro therapy. Women in the
Well,
Caribbean.
you see, Andres, but you've seen have you seen Maury where the babies had twins from 2 different dads because they impregnated her fast enough? That's possible too. It's very rare, but that's possible. Where 2 different dads a woman can have twins with 2 different man's sperm. It's insane.
What a great sitcom, you know. So okay, Michael Jackson. Remember he had clones, right? Or what happened?
I'm a Michael Jackson truther. Okay, so I just met a girl that I really like. She's really cool, and she's kind of like she kind of knows some celebrities and stuff. And I was having a nice dinner with her, but I was like, you know what? She's like, what conspiracies do you like? And I'm like, you know what my favorite conspiracy is? That Michael Jackson didn't molest Wade Robinson or James Safechuck, because if you look at their stories in Leaving Neverland, like Wade Robinson was the guy that didn't get the Cirque du Soleil show, the Michael Jackson experience that he wanted, and then like a month later he went and said all this stuff that Michael Jackson touched him, and he was cross-examined by California's top prosecutor twice and never cracked in court, said nothing happened. And then you have people like Macaulay Culkin that hung out with him all the time, and what's the other guy from the Goonies? I know his name. Corey Feldman. They both hung out with him, and they said they never even touched him, never did anything sexual.
I believe Corey. And there's no way. It's a lie. There's no way. Yeah,
I don't believe it. And they, obviously Michael Jackson didn't have a childhood, so he suffered from arrested development. He probably was still like 6 years old.
However, have like a Neverland Foundation for children who were victims of human trafficking and molestation.
Yeah, and he was the first person to say. And he helped kids, and he was the first person to say the news was fake, before Trump was ever saying it. And then another thing is James Safechuck, the other guy in the HBO documentary, who the producer of that was like a total sketchball. He said that he got molested in the train station, and the year he said it happened, the train station was not only not built, but the architecture hadn't even drawn the plans for it yet. So their stories just had big holes in it. That maybe Michael Jackson did something, but he was investigated for 19 years by the FBI. They never found anything, and like all the allegations that he had child porn was done by a maid. One maid said that she saw porn, and then he ended up suing her, and she recanted her story. But the media doesn't tell you that, so I don't know. But then, like I said, this girl that has been a lovely dinner with, she said that it was actually another famous guy, not Corey Feldman, not as famous as Macaulay Culkin or Corey Feldman, said that Michael Jackson one time when they were peeing showed him his dick. But I don't know if he's just saying that or not. They said like he compared penises. So that kind of put a whole big hole in my story. She's like, wait, you don't think so? And she told me, and like I said, I'm hearing this third hand. It's very hearsay, but I was like, what happened? Did Michael Jackson touch him? She's like, no, but they went pee together, supposedly.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really believe it for a lot of reasons, and one of the things is, regardless of what's true, after he died, when the Neverland documentary or whatever came out, that and was discredited so much, and it's proven that the guys involved were liars, and they had to remove it from Netflix and everything else. They started removing his music because it already did the damage was done. So yeah. Michael Jackson.
Wait, did they take it off? I'm pretty familiar with it. Did they take it off Netflix? They did.
Yeah, it was going to be this big.
No, I believe you, but yeah, because I remember that
documentary. But I know it was this big thing. Accusations were false, and they proved that they were false. It was this huge thing. But regardless, the music, when they stopped playing it, the royalties stopped going into the dead man's nonprofit for children. So it seems more about stopping the nonprofit that helps children than it is about stopping this dead man. That's
wow. There's so many. Leaving Neverland debunked in 10 minutes. 25 lies from Leaving Neverland. I mean, all glaring inaccuracies. There's so many inaccuracies with it. So
that's the other thing. What about character destruction? How many people do we think of as villains because of the news that might have been trying to stop the human trafficking epidemic? And Michael Jackson might have been.
Well, dude, we know Trump was in the sewer saving all the children, dude. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding when I say that, but his character's been assassinated more than anybody. Even though he does like to grab him by the pussy, and even though like he did bang Stormy Daniels, I
thought he was just quoting. He was paraphrasing Marx. He sees them by their means of reproduction. That was a reasonable.
There you go. I like that. And he is a Marxist, not. But listen, I think it's very easy for the media to label me because, like, I went after Dan Crenshaw and I called him a globalist recently, and they're like, "Oh, this guy's a far right extremist, Proud Boy." I'm not. I'm just anti-establishment. I think both the left wing and the right wing are on the same bird, and that we need to call out both politicians. Like, and it's kind of like, I think of it like this: like, a football coach usually toughest on the good players, the players that he likes, because he can actually help that. So, like, if I go and I yell at like AOC, she's never going to agree with me anyway. But if I actually yell at the people that the person that I think could help me because I'm trying to coach them to be better, I think that's more effective. It's not me necessarily hating Dan Crenshaw or hating Ted Cruz. It's me trying to actually give them attention so that I think that they can fix. I think the problems they have are fixable. And they don't want to do that. They want to say, "Oh, I'm a right-wing extremist. I'm a Proud Boy," all these false labels. So Salon.com, it's very easy for them to label somebody, and that becomes the narrative.
Bobcat calls me a master debater. I'm going to go through some of these missed. Sticky Mark sends £5. How ya? Here's a 5 spot for you. And without calling me a crazy old cat lady, I used to live in Cottonley, and I can see it from here. Very good. Pushing down, I saw something from Brittany. Here we go. Do you is getting LASIK eye surgery transhumanist? What do you say?
No, I have LASIK eye surgery. It's great. It's the best surgery. It was the greatest thing I ever got. Well, and I can see so better. I actually have 20/15, so what a normal person sees from 15 feet, I can see from 20. So it changed my life. I used to have contacts and all this stuff. I think LASIK is great. I don't think necessarily, like, they'll say, if you get a metal hip, that's transhumanist. I don't necessarily think so, but it kind of leans that way. But that's not it's not as black and white and cut and dry.
I try so hard to like cut it at post-humanism. I feel like post-humanism is where you're no longer human. So like if you got a metal hip, you're still human. But that could be transhumanism. Then it just means to me that transhumanism isn't post-humanism, and that post-humanism is the bad part. That taking vitamins is okay. I don't know. I mean.
Yeah, but Andres, if they said, "Hey, we have technology that will be able to make you live forever by uploading your brain to a computer," the only problem is we have to kill you before your time is to naturally die.
That's post.
Yeah,
right?
I know, but I'm saying people will sign up to do it, dude.
They will.
People are like, "Oh, well, yeah," and they're gonna just die. They won't even know if they lived. That's the problem. And then they'll have like the cyborgs you talk to. They'll be like, "Oh, Billy, upload his brain to a computer," and some people go talk to it, and they're just talking to an AI computer. They're not actually talking to Billy. You know what I mean? So. I think that is like the scam.
Yeah, I mean, that's for sure. I think post-humanism. Have you seen the Mormon Transhumanists Foundation?
No, but what are they, the ones that want to live forever? I mean, there's so much weird stuff about Mormonism. Like in Glenn Beck, who runs the Blaze, is a Mormon, and so like you got to be kind of careful what you say. But there's also a thing called soaking, where the Mormon, they can stick their penis in a girl as long as they don't hump.
You go immediately. That's the first thing about Mormons. You think?
I think that's weird that they actually justify that. They'll be like, "Oh yeah, well we can stick our dick in there, but as long as we're not like thrusting."
That's Kundalini yoga, and it's sacred. Okay. Also, Bobcat says accusations about Michael Jackson can be debunked with a calendar. Even Morgan Pierce proved Leaving Neverland was a lie. That's bad.
Yeah, it's true.
But okay, Mormonism, LDS, they have some interesting stuff. Not the least of which, let's just really quickly, for those of you who remember the Pacific, what's it called? The Pacific Seaway Interior. I always forget the way Western Seaway Interior. So you've seen this because you love Tartaria. You're a Tartaria person yourself. Let's go to the California island map, right? Because you've seen the California island map. Everyone talks about California was an island, right? There's California as an island, all the 1700s maps. But then you look at these maps, people say, "Oh, this doesn't make any sense," except for if it was like 1,000 years ago, because in the Pacific, the Western Sea interior, Missouri, and where the Garden of Eden is to the Mormons, would be right on the coastline. So we do have kind of evidence of something. Anyway, regardless. Mormon, that's what I think of. I think of they're being weirdly correct about the Garden of Eden being in Missouri, which is a really weird idea, and for that to have any logic.
Wait, so you do think that you do vibe with Joseph Smith saying the Garden of Eden is in America
with that Western Sea interior? All right, but then also, okay, Mormon transhumanism is beyond, and it's this idea of building and answering all the things that God has not finished for us yet or something, So let's say you talk to a guy in 100 years about a transhumanist from the future, and you say, "Hey, have you heard of God and heaven and all that?" He said, "What is it all about?" It's like, "Well, heaven's a place where no one's hungry and they live forever and they're doing fine and they're immortal." And so, well, we have that now. So yeah, but it's because of God. Well, who's God? God's this immortal, omnipotent, omnipresent, knows everything, and then produces all of life. Like, yeah, we have like an avatar server tree we built, So they're trying to build all the things that are described in metaphysical scripture, like with computers and stuff, and give us those things. What do you think of that? As your cat puts its tail up.
Yeah, we're in the cat castle. I mean, I don't know. It's like we think about like the metaphysical nature of humanity, and I do think there is a creator 100% that pressed play, somewhere on this thing of life. And I said that earlier. I kind of quoted like, I do think there were some spiritual beings that came down and mixed with us. Like maybe we were like, I don't know, maybe we were more like an animal, right? And then, when the spirit got us, that gave us like, that's what made us different. Because really, how are you and I better than a bear? How are you and I better than like a cheetah? Like really, we're not, like they're awesome. You look at like, if we were toe to toe in the, in the wild, they would kill us. But somehow we got this, je ne sais quoi, this undescribable trait that makes us a little smarter, where we can create a weapon and fight against them. But really and truly, we're not like the superior physical being in the world. So we have to use our brain. So something made us smarter. And I don't know if that was just luck. I think we mixed with something, like metaphysical or something, really, all knowing.
Or like a light laser that just sent DNA information and like mutated us or something. Yeah.
Something like, programmed us. Maybe we are like a computer. I mean, I always like the idea like osmosis, like you just like, you don't even have to read the book. You like touch it to your head and you'd know it. And I always like wanted that as a kid. I always wish I could just like hold the book and then understand it. So maybe people could do that at some point.
It's sad because they used to sell transhumanism and Neuralink with that to us, but the kids now, they're telling them you can watch porn with Neuralink. That's going to be really exciting them. Okay, also time travel. I mean, really simple, easy subject. What do you think about time travel? Explain it to us.
Well, I mean, what is that? What is travel? Is travel what, the fifth dimension or fourth dimension? How does that work? What do they consider?
I always
travel?
think that fifth dimension's choice and fourth dimension's time. I mean, that's what that Time Machine movie does. Fourth dimension.
Okay, yeah. So it's like I mean, it does exist. It's just like, how do you get there? Can we physically go? I mean, what is it? The Operation Looking Glass, where they suppose they can like sit in a chair and they can see the future. But in a way, I was just looking at this article from like 1961 saying, oh, the phone's going to be in your pocket. Like you and I were talking about like, transhumanism and the metaverse. Like you can almost be an idiot and kind of figure out that's where like technology is going. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know. I mean, it's just time travel. Can we actually physically go and travel? Well, wouldn't it already exists? Like, wouldn't there be people here from the future if that was possible?
Unless there's like an army of Ricks, a council of Ricks that like stop people. They arrest
them.
There's like time cops, that stop you. Like
maybe. I mean, I think there'd have to be, because like wouldn't there be a bunch of people? I mean, and I always kind of like the butterfly effect. That's a good movie, but it's like the wings of a butterfly can change the whole outcome, because that butterfly could have like gotten eaten by a dinosaur, even though I think dinosaurs are bullshit. What I'm saying is, I think that man lived with dinosaurs. People are going to say that's controversial.
Right? Dragons are real.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're dragons. Like I do believe there's some big lizards, but I don't know if they're like 65 billion years old or whatever.
Giant birds, bro. Yeah, time.
Yeah, exactly.
It all goes back.
But I guess. But I think there's 65 billion years, right? Is it million or billion? Regardless, it's all fake. It's numbers. A long time ago.
Brilliant.
But I guess my point being is like just the flaps of a butterfly's wings can change the whole outcome of something. Because like it could cause you to like chase that butterfly instead of going home. And when you went home, you could have died in a car accident or something. And like the whole society is totally different, because that baby that died in the car accident could have been LeBron James, or could have been Hitler, or could have been, you know what I mean? And so like now the world's totally different.
Dude, okay, all about Hollow Earth. So, like Dimension X, Hollow Earth, the idea, you were talking about 9 miles down, or, whatever, 11 kilometers.
Yeah, teach me about Hollow Earth a little bit, because people do, I know you know that better than me, because people do say there's like bubbles on our surface and stuff. What is the idea of the Hollow Earth?
Man, all I got is like, because Vice asked me to do a special on Hollow Earth, so I said yes, and so I did it. But basically, from what I found, NPR, BBC, all these different sources of scientific journals proving that around the same time that this was happening, that they found evidence of a giant sea bigger than all the seas combined, and a lake larger than all the lakes in the world combined, about as large as one of our oceans, that's underground. And then there's also super saturated rock in certain places. And then there's these weird tardigrades, and then there's these volcanic snails Did you see the volcanic snails before? Have you ever seen that one?
No, but I've seen it where like at Mariana's Trench, like dude, it's still water, but the water's impenetrable. Like it's like almost like so thick, but it's still water. They can't even get through it. I
Look
mean,
at this
so
snail made out
it's-
of lava. This snail lives at like 300 degrees centigrade or 600 degrees centigrade or 1,000 degrees centigrade, and it lives in arsenic and sulfur, and it just eats metal.
See, that's an alien. That's
yeah,
an alien.
that's exactly right. That's what I kind of think. I mean, that snail. I mean, that's terrifying in every way. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so there's
and some of
stories
the
about-
animals at the bottom of the ocean, these fish are huge. I mean, we see whales that come to the surface, but they have stuff that are like way bigger than those whales, the megalodon or whatever the heck they call. I mean, it's huge stuff.
Giant squid. Oh my god, like nothing scarier. But if there are hollow earth places, the thing they really wanted me to answer, and I'd rather just push the question to you, is like, do you think there's intelligent life, not just extremophile snails? Do you think there's like, because a lot of these stories, there's Telos, Shambhala, Agartha, the Tibetans underground, Telos is under Shasta. There's all these stories of underground cities from Tartarus, right? Tartaria is considered to be the Tartarus underground. Do you think there's like an underground civilization? Like, what do you think of that?
I think probably hell and heaven are closer than they say, and there's probably hell, probably deep, So there could be, some sort of like spirits or souls in hell on Earth, because I think that's kind of why Earth is so evil. That's why, like, even though like there's a lot of good people on Earth, but like we always everybody does something like deviant at one point in their life. Some people do more deviant stuff than other, but like even like the most pure Christian at some point like did something, like looked at porn or did something deviant. So I guess my point being is like heaven is probably not here on Earth. It's probably not so far away, but hell probably is here on Earth because humans are so corruptible.
Man, okay, and like flat Earth and space. What do you think about space? And are we all locked?
Space is gay and fake. Space is gay and fake. We know that. I mean,
you heard it here
that's
first.
pretty obvious. Well, but see, that's the problem is when you talk about flat Earth, like it's like flat Earth society. It's controlled opposition. It's like where Obama says we don't live on a flat Earth, but like the idea that it's an 8-inch per mile squared, ball made of mainly water, floating through space 4 different directions. Like the heliocentric model doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense either. So, that's kind of where I'm at, where it's like, all right, come on, NASA, you faked the moon landing. It's like, how do we really know? I mean, how do we, like, it's just, these are questions that people will be like, oh, it doesn't even matter the shape of the Earth, which it does, but I don't think we'll ever really know the true shape because it's always going to be scientism, not really science.
Right. So do you think that we affect reality with our thoughts, or can we change the shape of the world? If everyone started believing the world was a globe, does it become a globe, or flat if they believe it's flat? Is that real?
No. I don't think that. Like that's almost kind of like the hive mind brain where like we could like will it. And I do think that you can like, what is the word? Manifest something. Yeah. For it to become true in the future. But I don't think you can like change the reality around us.
Dude, and then Elon Musk underground with the Boring Company. We always talk about SpaceX, but like, what's he doing underground with the Boring Company? What do you think's up with that?
I don't know. Why are they digging all that stuff, dude? And like, that's like the idea of like tectonic plates and all this. There's just so much weird stuff that's what causes, earthquakes. Like, I don't know. I mean, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Fat Fettuccine sends us, Stein, stay black and remember that the world's a stage. The moon landing was flat and there are reptilian shoplifters infiltrating our 7-Elevens. That's, I agree with that. I mean, that's pretty reasonable. I got a book
7-Eleven's hard place.
I got a book here from the Bohemian Grove. Every year they do a play, and this one is The Golden Cave. I forget.
Wait, slow down. They always do a play because they're always like doing like homosexual type stuff, wearing costumes and stuff.
Oh, theater. Come on, we're both in theater. We can't.
Oh, I love acting. No. I mean, that's why they call me a soy boy. I'm a vegetarian too. I actually don't lie. I'm not even hating on him for that. I'm just saying that's like, what is it? Alex Jones exposed him, and then they do the cremation of Kara ceremony.
The log cabin Republicans from Turning Point are at Bohemian Grove too. It's all right.
Dude, and I didn't even. It's funny that you talk about the log cabin Republicans. That's like such a touchy topic here in Texas. Like they've asked me to speak at all these events, and all my conservative friends because they like. So I went to the recent convention where I trolled them, and they didn't give them a booth at that convention. The log cabin Republicans, so they're kind of hated by the conservative party.
That's a bummer. They should be the thing, because if that was an alternative to the other movement, then it would be more popular. If it was said, hey, you can do, because. You got to remember, America is the place where they stop burning people at the stake for being gay. So these are the conservative Republicans that want to have their rights to do whatever they want and not infringe on other people's rights. That's like a decent enough movement. I don't know. But yeah, you have some friends told you not to do it, or
Yeah, I mean, like I'm pretty socially
not to
liberal.
talk
And I
at
get
their
like,
movement. I mean to say,
yeah, I get like a lot of heat, for not being, Christian fascist enough. And even though call me a Christian fascist, I'm not, obviously. But I do think that it's kind of weird. It's like, a lot of people are gay for different reasons. Or I think, some people don't choose it. But there are people on the right. It's like, oh, people don't. They, something happens to them. That's why they're gay. I just don't think that's necessarily true. And I have gay family members that I love very much. So it's like I can't dislike somebody because of their sexual orientation. But at the same time, it's like you look at Pride. It's like we do this whole month based on who people like to have sex with. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care that you're gay, but we got to do a whole month because you like anal sex. Like, it's just, it's just kind of, it's a very gray area.
Feels like they're destroying holidays, like the way the Catholic Church destroyed holiday. Like just every day became a holiday until they stopped being celebrated. And now we're just getting to a point where they're like, okay, we get it. We're like 30 days in, we're sore. We don't really want to celebrate anymore.
Well, speaking of that, like, what do you think about that? The moon has 13 28-day cycles, and that equals 364 days. So I just think the calendar that we have, is probably all of Augustus. It was August.
Dude, it's got to be right now is Halloween. If we were using the lunar calendar, then Halloween would be now. I agree. It's happy Halloween, everybody.
I'm just saying something's weird with the timeline. It's like, dude, and do you think when you think of like 80 and BC, do you think they actually went to zero and restarted counting again? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like,
so that whole thing with flamenco timeline, right? We did a thing on flamenco, right? The idea of so everyone talks about things being millions of years old, but then Newton said these were divine years, which means they're a lot closer. And then we have carbon dating, but we have volcanology and radiology, and there's like Oklo, the nuclear volcano. So we know that things that we thought were degraded for thousands of years actually had instantaneous degradation during an eruption.
Yeah, dude, they even they get lava that they like immediately dry, and they test it, and it has this carbon dating, says it's millions of years old. So that shows you how accurate that is.
So yeah, things are probably a lot more recent. I mean, how recent are they though? You've heard the thing about Jesus being 1,000 years ago. Like, so Flamenco said that all the things the Catholic Church doubled the calendar, added a bunch of years, tried to make themselves seem like they'd been there before everybody else, and that Jesus. If it's 2,000 years versus 1,000, it's not that big. But if it was 100 versus 1,000, it's a big deal. Like, that was really recent. No. Jesus was a long time ago. Don't worry about it. I mean, what do you think? Do you think there's any logic to that?
The Catholic Church would never lie, dude. They would never lie or protect pedophiles or anything. So whatever they say is 100% true. And, there's a Catholic Jesuit, that created the Big Bang Theory. And I just think that's like one of the most laughable. Listen, there's a lot of stuff that I'll say, like, I don't know. I'm just kind of look into it or whatever. But dude, the idea that like everything literally came from nothing and two rocks smashed. And that's just how we got cats and dogs and you and me with some time. That's the only other formula. Two rocks smashed together in time. It just seems impossible for me.
Well, I mean, so it's funny you bring up Lemaire, the Belgian philosopher, priest, scientist, and astronomer who invented the E=mc² theory, essentially, that Einstein stole. But he was religious, and he said that there was the Big Bang because and his main reason to write all the math was because the Bible says in the beginning, God says, "Let there be light." So, I mean, how far off is that from the Bible? Isn't it the same story?
Maybe he went bang, and then I guess we came into bang. I mean, maybe that, but just the idea that like two like rocks smashed together. For me, that's just, I don't care how big the rocks are, how violently they smash together, and then we evolved from pond scum like an amoeba or the primordial soup. I just have that that's why all these people love science, but they literally tell you that like we evolved from like lightning hitting a moldy pond. It's hard for me to believe that.
Right. Okay. In terms of evolution, do you think that we're able to control our evolution though, or is it not going to work? I was talking to Owen Benjamin a bit, and he'd said, his main thing was transhumanism. He thinks it's not going to work. He just doesn't think it's possible. Do you think it's going to fail, or do you think that it?
Eugenics is real. I think eugenics is a form of forced evolution. So yeah, I mean, I do think it is possible, like to have if I pick a tall girl and I'm a tall guy, if we have a few kids, a couple of them are going to be tall, So I think there is, in that sense, like the eugenics are real. So I think that's possible. But the fact that we evolve into a superior being that uses more of our brain and that can do more than an average human. I don't know if we can do that on purpose.
Dude,
I think we're devolving. Is my answer. I think we're getting dumber, not.
What do you think
smarter.
is the reason why we're degenerating? Like, is it just environmental? Is it the lack of?
I think it's just atrophy. It's just every time. Yeah. I think that we just get weaker every time. Every ring around the posy or whatever. Every thing just gets a little weaker.
Man, All right, so I want to see if you're down to do the song. I sent it to you. Do you think you've got that? Do you want to
Oh,
try?
of course. Okay, here, let me do a screen share. We got it, dude. This is a Friday night freestyle. You know we gotta. Okay,
Benevolent Dream sent a beat he made, so I don't know. You haven't had
can
any
you
time
hear
to
it? Hold on. Can you hear it?
I can't yet. Wait. I gotta add it. There we go. Okay, now
Okay, you can't hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta get in the mood. Okay, Andres, are you gonna spit or is it just Primetime 9 spitting?
You want me to do I'll do a quick intro line or something, but then you have to take
Yeah,
over.
you gotta do a little intro. Okay.
Okay, all right.
You can hear it?
Yeah, I got it. I got primetime Alex Stein, 99, here committing thought crimes on videos online. Thought criminal, even though the thought put into this line of work is quite minimal. He's got the game though, confidence subliminal. If you know the man, his work is quite seminal. Alex, I'm gonna have to let you go off on a tangent now because I'm clearly going out of flow.
Andreas Tartaria causing mass hysteria. People don't know the truth. When I rhyme up in the booth, the earth is not what they say. Gonna turn your kid super gay. They're gonna do it every day. Vaccinate his DNA. They don't care if you die. They don't care if you live. All they want you to is give your money. Those taxes, smoking THC waxes so high till you die. Gotta make it cry on the grind all the time. I'm 99 and I'll blow your mind. One more time I do 69 and I'll eat you out till I make you shout. I don't really care cause I got lots of clout. 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 followers on my TikTok. All these hoes wanna suck my cock. I'm a pimp on a blim, eating shrimp all day long and I push your thumb to the side. Gonna bang you even during Pride. I don't care what you say. No, I'm not gay. Vaccinate my body, vaccinate my DNA. You know I grind and you know I shine. One more time I'm 99 and I will blow your mind. You know we got to go in the booth. You know I flow and my dick it always grow. I'm a grower, not a shower. And when I stick it in, I go slower. Then I go faster. Give you that blaster. Disaster. I know what I'm doing. And your girl is who I'm screwing. I don't care what you say. I'm a pimp every day. I'm a pimp. No, I don't play. Let's go. Call your hoe. And I need to eat Domino's. Pizza. Podesta. You know I am the best. Jeffrey Epstein on Lolita Express. Cause a girl to make a mess. You're with a child. Don't be mild. We got to take you out. Let's wax your Victoria's Secret. You are a freakin'. We need to stick you in the grave. Killing Epstein doesn't make you brave. I'm a pimp on a blimp, eating shrimp. Ghislaine Maxwell ain't making bail. She ain't getting out. I'm a pimp with lots of clout. Let's go one more time. 99 on the grind. And I freestyle on a Friday. Vaccinate your body with a DNA. mRNA shot up your butt. I don't care if it leaves a cut. Get your Fauci ouchie every single day. Vaccinate your body and your DNA. I love sudden adult death syndrome. And no, I'm not a clone. And I spit it off the dome. And you know I'm on hydrocodone. That painkiller. I'ma mix you up like a blender. I'm a pimp on a blimp. I'ma vacuum with a broom. I'ma eat a nice mushroom. I'm tripping, Kelly flipping, and this mushroom I be dipping in that ice cream. Give me that sauce, I'm the boss, and I paid the cost, and I love it all day long. And I wear my nice thong, cause I got a booty all day long. Call your mom, call your buddy. I don't care if it's a little muddy. It don't stank. This ain't a prank. Take a picture. I'm a winner. I'ma eat you up for dinner. Let's go. This is a long song, long thong. What can I say? One more time. Stream yard. Let me get the credit card. Now you Obama doing coke with Hunter Biden. You know I'm riding, smoking crack in the back of the rental car. Hunter Biden and he driving far. doing cocaine in the Ukraine. And you know I go insane. One more time, I am prime time. Gas prices way too high. Putin says he needs to die. Joe Biden wears hunter with a crack rock. All you girls can't suck my cock. This is the last time when I come up in the booth, cause you know I always spit the motherfucking truth. I'm a pimp on a blend, and I grind, and I shine. Tartaria, causing hysteria. You don't know the truth, the timeline is a fraud. You got caught, you will get shot. Hunter Biden, what are you smoking? Let me take a hit of that. Ooh, that is some good crack. My throat is hurting from the back. And I love to grind, and you know I shine, and I do it one more time, and you know I snort the line. Hunter Biden all day long, vaccinate your dad and mom. You know I like that ouchie. Come here, Dr. Fauci, you are the best ever. This rhyme was really clever. Now it's time to hit the lever. Gotta say, wave goodbye. I don't care if this is my last try. I'm prime time 9 on the grind all the time.
Oh, best bars to date. Amazing work, sir. God, you're just so.
That was insane. That was insane. That was a long song. It's nearly a 6-minute song.
I thought you could do like 30 seconds of it. I was like, wait, we're gonna have to sell this.
We had to do the whole song. No, I had to do the whole
you on
song.
vinyl. That's it. We're gonna have to get your album out. I can't wait to work on the music video. I love you.
Well, you know, I had a video with did you see my song with Bryson Gray recently?
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I can't wait. Are you putting an album out? Is that your plan?
Like, well, I mean, I gotta, I like to rhyme. Every, white guy has a couple bars, but oh shoot, my headset is about to die. Hold on.
Yeah, no worries.
What I'm saying is I can hear you. I had to I do one-on-one, so when it dies, I have another backup. But yeah, dude, yeah, I gotta come out. I mean, I'm not necessarily a musician. I can't play an instrument to save my life, but dude, I can rhyme. I like that. And I think as a kid, I always read like the rhyming dictionary. So like, obviously I repeat a lot of the rhymes, which that's normal. But yeah, like rhyming, I think I can rhyme. I like to sing. I like to rap. But you're right. My hero, my comedic inspiration is Andy Kaufman. And like he would do like the Mighty Mouse, here I am to save the day. And he would sing just that part. I guess my point is, like I do want to be able to sing, dance, prance, romance. I don't want to just be like I do stand-up comedy, but like stand-up comedy is like my least favorite thing to do. I like to blend the line of reality and fiction and make people question, is this guy really like going insane for the Ukraine? Does he really like this? And that's what I like to do. I kind of almost want to confuse people because we live in such a confusing world. I'm confused all the time. So that's why I kind of almost feel guilty in a way, Andreas, because like I make the world more chaotic. But sometimes that's that in my mindset, I think that's okay because you have to fight fire with fire.
Right. So what's next for you? What are you doing next with I know you're moving on towns, you're taking over America, you're invading Poland in September. What else you got planned?
Well, okay. Well, I'm going to your old neck of the woods. I'm going on Tim Pool's show on Friday.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Guys, you have to check that one out. Make a special
Yeah.
effort to see at least one episode this year.
Yeah. Well, so you're not tight with Tim? What happened with him?
No, we're still good. We're legit. I mean, I just am doing my own show, and I'm happy to have a show because I think that's what I needed mostly.
Well, okay, I have to just say this. It's like, I'm so excited to go there and do it. So I don't want to obviously say anything bad about,
dude, Tim is a beautiful man, an honest man, and he does a lot of good for the world. Like, I'll never stop saying that. I'm sorry if it upsets some people who don't like him, but I still like Tim a lot, And the same thing with Timcast. I think it's like one of the most important spearheads out there. So the fact that you're getting on the show, I can't wait to see you with Ian. It's gonna be amazing, man.
I'm gonna go insane. Yeah. So what give me some tips. So what should I be like when I go? Should I go the full blast? Should I go really
full blast? But you can't talk about. I mean, some of the things that you talked about here, you probably couldn't talk about there.
Oh, no way, dude. Most of the stuff we talked about tonight, they wouldn't understand. So it's like I'm kind of thinking like, what should I say? Like, should I just go in there and be like political guy, or should I go in there and try to like be full blast and kind of like just steal the show, be the attention hog, or should I be kind of let them have the attention too? Because I like to be the star of the show.
You got enough clout to do whatever you want. I feel like you can kind of do what you need to do at this point. But at the same time, you don't want the episode pulled, so you have to be careful.
See, you nailed it. See, I do want it to be very careful what I say. Like, you probably got to be kind of careful about Epstein.
Ian's gonna talk about DMT. I'm sure
I've done DMT, so I can talk. Does he do that much DMT? It was a really cool
experience. He's really interested in it. He's really excited about it.
Has he done DMT?
I think he has. I mean,
he better. Well, but dude, when I did DMT for the people at home, like we had the shaman pray, and I was like all nervous and all scared. But dude, I'm telling you, it's called blasting off. Like I actually blasted off. Like my eyes were open, and all I could see was like pink and blue, and it looked more clear than like any 5K TV you see at Best Buy when the newest TV comes out. Sometimes you see the newest TV, like, oh, that's so sharp. That's like what I was seeing with pink and blue. The one time I did DMT, it was pretty insane.
Man, do you think that there's like a real spiritual realm? Like, are you interacting, or is it just seeing stuff? What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, it's like, are you just high on drugs and you're just, and you're just like experiencing something that's not necessarily there? But like, dude, that's what the hallucinogenics. Like now, I don't know if you know this. I'm sober. I don't drink, and I stopped smoking weed. So like, I don't really get high other than like confronting people. Like I get high creating content because it gives me adrenaline. But like, I guess my point being is like with hallucinogenics, I would do that again. If there's a certain, isolated incident where I think it could be cool, but I think it like can probably open up parts of your brain that you can't access. So like, is that another dimension? I don't know. Or maybe it's just a different school of thought. It's kind of hard to tell the difference.
John says, woe to anyone who rap battles Alex Stein, especially over politics. Man, all right. I think this has been great, guys. I appreciate that you came, Alex. This is a beautiful show. And guys, make sure you check him out on Friday. Watch more Alex Stein and Conspiracy Castle, and let's do another thing eventually. I mean,
for sure,
we're probably gonna have to wait 6 months after this one strike, but after that,
no, we're not gonna get a strike. I think we were careful. We just want to say we love Fauci, and we love it. Thank you, Dr. Fauci. You're the best.
I'm excited to be part of the transhumanist conspiracy myself. So it's great, But I hope, and then let's do a Conspiracy Castle again soon, man.
For sure, I'll have you on soon. We got to do it sooner than later. I agree. Okay, good night.
I love you guys. Take care. Peace out, everybody.
Hey, everybody, tune in to Recent Tartarian.
Recent Tartaria. Recent Tartaria. Recent Tartaria. Recent Tartaria. Recent Tartaria.
Hey, everybody, tune in to Recent Tartarians.
Recent Tartarians. Recent Tartarians.